Welcome to Ypsilanti Area Discussers with your hosts, Mark and Coelhinha.
No. You gotta do this. Welcome to another episode of Ypsilanti Area Discussers with your hosts, Coelhinha and Mark Hergott. This is an Ypsilanti podcast made for everybody. And today we are saying hello to one another. Hello, Coelhinha.
Hi, Mark.
Right now we're in my living room and I am enjoying some Taco Bell from Michigan Avenue.
That good old Michigan Avenue Taco Bell.
Mm-hmm. You know, there used to be an E-course restaurant.
Really?
Yes. The turnabout was very, very tight. And can you imagine a 1980s Buick going through that turnaround?
I think I tried to go around that turnaround with you one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about.
That's
where Berea El Jefe used to be now.
That's where Berea El Jefe is. Well, used to be. I think Berea El Jefe moved, yeah. I had Berea El Jefe with you. What did you think of it?
Oh, that was the most divine. I guess it was the only Berea I've ever had, but if that's what a Berea is, sign me up.
Yeah. And here we are, drinking Baja Blast and eating nachos from Taco Bell.
Listen, Taco Bell is $16 for both of us to eat. And Berea El Jefe is $16 one.
Yeah, but it's good $16.
That's true. He posted a really funny advertisement on Monday that I approved. I forget what it was, but it was like it was a meme. It was very culturally relevant.
For those of you who might be listening from outside, Coelhinha and I are administrators of the Ypsilanti Area Discussion Group on Facebook.
We're moderators.
And
it's not Facebook anymore, it's Meta.
That's right. You might know me from the formerly known as Facebook as Mark Hergott. And you might know Coelhinha as Coelhinha. Mm-hmm. Anyway, this is
very much B-side.
Yeah, this is very much B-side. We're just talking. What are we talking about, though?
Pants.
You know?
We're really going to make a podcast about pants.
We are going to make a podcast about pants. Right. It's one of my favorite stories.
I mean, it's quintessential Ipsy.
Yeah, it is. What do you know about the story?
My understanding of the story begins with pants in a toilet in a park, making the public toilets unusable. I think that the history goes a bit farther back.
Yeah, it does go a bit farther back.
Why don't you enlighten me?
All right. So have you ever heard of Ed Carisno? Big Ed Carisno?
Ed Krasinski?
No, not Ed Kaczynski. Big Ed Carisno.
Big Ed Carisno. I don't think we should be calling people names.
There's no advertisers.
Okay. All
right. So Big Ed, he was the city administrator in the early 90s. And he wanted to make his mark on Ypsilanti.
I thought you were the mark on Ypsilanti.
You're going to take all of my great lines.
Setting me up?
And you're knocking them out of the park. All right, so he wanted to make his mark on Ypsilanti, and that was urban renewal. Down off of Michigan Avenue, inside of town, in between the hills, basically, right next to the river, there's that spot that covered in trees. Water Street. It used to be an old mixed-use industrial space.
It wasn't always just an empty field?
It wasn't always just an empty field. And, Ed wanted to turn it into condos. $90,000 condos. Right by the river. Now, this is 1990, so it was actually a little more impressive than when we talk about
I'll buy a $90,000 condo by the river.
No, you won't. No, you will not.
No.
So he convinced city council to buy up all of this land, this 150-year-old mixed-use industrial land. You know, these were just, one or two person operations that would make batch work and then give it to the factories.
Oh, the mom and pop factory suppliers.
Mom and pop factory suppliers for a very long time. For the history of the Industrial Revolution and Ypsilanti, basically. Deindustrialization was happening. The Ford plant was shutting down. All of the ways that we were doing things were changing, and Ed saw an opportunity.
Good old Ed.
Yeah, he He got city council to buy up all of this land, and we cleared it out, and we had a developer ready to put down those $90,000 condos right next to the river. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It turns out that 150 years of small mom and pop mixed use industrial development does bad things to the soil.
Water Street's polluted.
Polluted is a kind word. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the developer skipped town, and Ypsilanti was held with the bag, like $34 million. I don't remember the exact
Is that
number.
why my property taxes are $5,000?
Absolutely. See, what happened after the developer left was Ed only had some solution, and one of them was to eliminate unnecessary costs, like the bathrooms in all of the parks.
Do you mean to tell me that this comedy episode about pants is really just a farce? This is just so Ed doesn't have to pay to keep the park open?
Yeah. Actually, Ed's back home. He used to be in Lansing for a little while. He got a really nice government job after he left us. But he's back home. He's retired.
Where's home? Here?
Oh, here. Yeah. He just tried to run a recall campaign on my city council member, Desiree. Anyway.
Ed was part of that recall?
Ed and Cheryl Farmer, the mayor under Ed, that bought up all the land.
These are the people that are directly responsible for the Water Street purchase.
Yes, absolutely.
So, a question. What was the fatal decision in this? Because I could see the city council looking at Water Street and looking at the potential for development and, okay, this is going to make the city money. This is going to be good. Bring in, new families. Mm-hmm. What happened? Did they not do an environmental survey? What happened?
There wasn't an environmental survey done on the land until after it had been purchased, or basically the bonds had been issued.
Did our city attorney not put in any environmental, you have to do an inspection, your house has to pass inspection if you buy it, why is this not part of a land inspection?
Well, our city attorney is the same guy from the 90s. You could go ask him right now.
Yeah, really, who's our attorney?
Oh, gosh.
Was it Barr?
Yeah.
John Barr?
Yeah, John Barr.
Senior?
John Barr Senior.
Okay.
John Barr Jr., he and I don't like each other.
This is not a flame podcast.
It is not a flame podcast. It is my fault. And John, if you ever hear this, I apologize. I'm not sure what I'm apologizing for, but I apologize. Okay.
This is definitely B-roll.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to have to cut out a few things. It'll be fine.
Oh, man. This is all over the place. So, it is just mind-boggling to me that we just almost reenacted in 2023 a Water Street 2.0.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about purchase of the new DPW yard.
The Mansfield property, yeah.
Yeah, the Mansfield property. We didn't do that, by the way.
Oh, yeah, but it was by the skin of our teeth.
Yeah. Des, she really wanted to make sure that the workers were safe, and that's what the vote was for.
Listen, we need safe workers, even if it costs extra money to, bring in outside contractors while we fix up whatever property we're going to be using. These workers have been putting their heart and soul into Ypsi for a long time, and they deserve to be safe. Mm-hmm. That was never in question, but we were both there for the vote.
Oh yeah, it was.
That was chaotic.
It was chaotic. It was absolutely chaotic. Basically, the unions, they were feeling unheard and unsafe, and the new interim city manager, Andy, he's now got the job permanently, but he hired Brian Jones Chance, a former city council member, to be paid tens of thousands of dollars for a property purchase. Now, he was a former city council member. That is just what was the line that I was going to say? The appearance of impropriety is itself impropriety.
That is actually written into the meeting minutes because you said that in the open discussion, the open comment section.
I said that?
Yeah, you sure did. You said that to Brian's face.
You know, I might have a couple of zingers every now and again.
Now and again?
Now and again.
There you go. I don't have as much of an issue with using, Ypsilanti for its size, for all of the people that live here. A lot of that is comers and goers through the university, and so, it's not actually that large of a city. I could see using the resources that you have, and sometimes those people are going to have been serving their city in different ways. I could see that. What I had a problem with on that, I mean, look, where is our current public works property, our current public service property?
Same place as it's been since the end of World War II. It's on not River Street. It's on Forest. It's a 401 West Forest, I think.
So the Forest Street property, Bonnie had a really good point. She came in with all these like really scary photos. Of the situation that these workers have been dealing with for a long time, and she made a really good point saying we haven't had money, and then as soon as the Amtrak money was freed up, we suddenly had money. I find it hard to believe that they thought that was the only way forward, because the whole thing was done behind closed doors.
There was a closed door meeting. It was literally behind closed doors. Yeah, and then
for people that are listening at home, what happened was that this property has been not maintained because we have not had money as a city, because we have been paying for absolutely nothing but that Water Street scandal since it happened in the 90s. Thanks a ton, Ed.
Pants.
These workers were like going down into holes that were unsafe, and they were making sure that our streets were plowed in the winter and that we had safe sidewalks, and they kept things running with, shoestring and chewing gum, And Bonnie went out with Brian to look for properties secretly.
Because they didn't want to get a bunch of people that were going to jack up the price. Unfortunately, what happened was
they found a tow truck operator
that was out of license. Well, we can't say that because everything became in compliance after the fact.
Oh, no. Dick Matty pulled those records. He pulled those permit records.
Yeah.
Those permits were only applied for after interest had been shown in that property. That tow truck operator was not operating in compliance until he wanted to sell that property to the city.
Well, that is impropriety.
Yeah. I mean, look, back in 2008, my brother bought a house that was not going to pass inspection. And so some unnamed people that I may or may not know might have broken onto the property to fix up the property so that it would pass inspection when my brother put an offer in on the house. I understand scrambling to make sure that these things will pass tests. However, this guy wanted over $4 million for this property that he paid, he bought on a land contract with like $100,000 down.
Oh yeah.
This guy was gonna walk away with half of the city's budget, and Des and this whole vote was put up to the city council basically as a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
It was basically sprung on them. Then there was this closed door meeting where Bonnie was like, this is the only option to keep things running, to keep things safe. And if you don't vote, the unions will all quit. That's what they said.
Yeah. And so on the day of the vote, they voted for it. And then the rest...
Des did make a really good point in that meeting. She said, the cost of human life is incalculable.
Oh,
These workers have been in unsafe conditions, and if they continue in unsafe conditions, we don't want to be paying with human life rather than money. Within
my adult residency, an Ypsilanti project has cost a human life. The Thompson block.
Yeah, so we know what that entails.
was a really bad week. I did not like that. He had kids.
So, I mean, of course, no one wanted that. No one wanted that for the workers that have been, giving everything to the city for so long. I really think that if the city was brought into the conversation, if it wasn't just Brian and Bonnie, I think that the most reasonable thing to do might have been to purchase that Mansfield property. It might have. But it left such a bad taste in people's mouths going about it in such a secret way.
In subsequent meetings, Andy came in and he gave financial impact, and it was basically a wash between fixing up 401 or buying Mansfield. So 401 Forest. So
we decided not to purchase the Mansfield property.
Purchase the Mansfield
That's
property.
That's going to stay on the property tax roll, thank God.
Yeah, and Des, her vote didn't mean anything. She was just voting on principle.
I don't think any of their votes meant anything. They were held hostage that day. Mm-hmm. Like, none of those votes meant anything except that there were scare tactics being used against them, and they were put on a time crunch. I have worked in sales. Mm-hmm. The reason that you put a time limit on these things is to apply pressure to make the sale. Okay, this is a very common sales tactic.
Yeah.
You say this is on a very, very tight time schedule, and you have to decide, otherwise this deal's going to be gone, and it's what it sounds like is like Brian and Bonnie fell for it. Because listen, here's the thing. If that guy wanted to sell that Mansfield property to us, we could have said, here's our offer, take it or leave it.
Well, the thing is that Brian had 87,000 reasons to fall for it.
I am disappointed in your lack of faith in humanity. I really don't think that those 87,000 reasons were as important. I'm sure that they played a role. I'm sure that was a motivator. But I don't think that Brian has, I don't think that he's out to screw the city over. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's out to just make a $4 million sale on the city's behalf just for $87,000. It just doesn't. I don't see him being that.
He went to high school with my sister. I've known Brian for years.
You think that those were the 87,000 reasons?
No. I am being unkind to Brian, and I don't appreciate that about myself. So again, Brian, if you're listening, I apologize.
He's never gonna listen to this.
He might. I mean, I got 30 views on the first one.
It's because you're Mark.
Well, yeah, but you're Coelhinha, so everything's great.
Everything's peachy keen.
Yeah.
So that's not even the entirety of the whole Water Street scandal, is it, Mark?
Oh, it's been going on for 20 years.
Let's talk about Water Street 1.5. What did City Council just try to do 5 years ago?
Yeah, you're talking about the Michigan State Housing Development Authority putting on that Water Street Flats is what they were going with, which was a terrible name. It was a terrible name. So MISHDA was gonna put in a grant for this property. Mm-hmm. But MISHDA took a look at the soil samples and was like,
yoink.
No, absolutely not. So Water Street is poison, both metaphorically and literally.
Yep. So the grant didn't go through. Mm-hmm. Wasn't there another developer that was looking at buying Water Street after that?
Well, there was the small developer, the Family Dollar, that got put on there on the least polluted spot.
Oh no, I'm not talking about the Family Dollar. I'm talking about those people that took the city council members out to China.
Oh, that's right. Hey, Amanda, hello.
Yeah, we haven't forgotten that. So, Mark, walk me through what happened. What year was this?
Oh, it was the years The years keep coming and they don't stop coming. So this was
2018?
2018,
Or was this during
2016.
COVID?
It was
pre-COVID.
2016 or 2014, 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So Amanda and the city council members, they got a line for building this. What was it called? An Asian village. Basically, rich. All right, I'm not trying to be offensive. All right, what I'm trying to say is that.
So there was a Chinese developer that was interested in the property?
There was a Chinese developer who had this real estate development scheme, and I don't know if it's ever been implemented in the United States anywhere.
Oh, I'm sure that it has. It wasn't an unusual thing. This happens in cities all the time. There's a market underneath, there's shopping underneath, and then there's above that there's apartments. I mean, it's basically a larger scale version of what's going on in Depot Town.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you got Sidetrack and you got the apartments above.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a larger version of that.
Yeah. So basically what it was planning on doing was putting in and it would be built by North American capital and everything, and anyone could want to live there, but the architecture would be East Asian in character, and it would be marketed towards East Asians.
Really?
And
I didn't know that.
yeah, it was an Asian village, and basically there's this I don't know what it may be like an I-9. I'll have to look it up and try to enter this in, but there's basically a visa, a student visa,
Yeah.
where people come over and they go to
They go to Eastern.
they go to Eastern, they go to U of M, and then they come back to the Asian village and they're hanging out with the Asian community. And the idea is that because it's a specific visa and because there's a market for sending Asian kids over to our schools, and then ostensibly after 4 years they go back home. They didn't integrate because they stayed in the Asian village, but most of them nowadays they stay in the dorms and they integrate, and they're like, hey, I speak English, I have friends here, I can make a bunch of money, thanks for the investment, my parent country and mom and dad. I'm going to make my life in America. Yeah. And so that's what the Asian village is supposed to interdict.
So they were trying to ostensibly, allegedly, if I'm understanding what you're suggesting, this was supposed to be kind of like a mini dorm space, essentially, but culturally insulated.
It would be a culturally insulated student space where they would have a higher level of retention of their investment in human capital, the kids that come to Eastern or University of Michigan or Wayne State.
Okay. So what was their proposal for this? Like, this is what they wanted. Mm-hmm. How did this come to be in front of city council? What happened?
Well,
what broke down?
So the lady came in, and I don't remember her name, but she came in and she made a presentation. It was probably the economic developer that brought this to city council. The economic developer, by the way, that didn't have her contract renewed after all this went down. Yes. Shocking how that happened. Anyway, so the lady offered a cultural exchange trip, or rather she said, I know of this student group, this Wayne State
student. Oh yeah,
student.
I forgot. She tried to go through the students and get the student group to pay for it.
There's video camera footage of her burly associate frog walking the former treasurer into the bank and pulling the check.
So the thing is that you can't send city council members over on this kind of trip because it can be seen as a form of bribery? Or what is the term?
So it was quid pro quo. It was you wash my hands, I wash your hands. It was
okay. I'll give you a vacation if you let me buy this property.
Yeah,
kind of a deal. Okay, so they were trying to sweeten the deal, which in America is not kosher. Mm-mm. We can't do that here. And so they tried to get around it by having the student organization at Wayne State pay for it.
Yeah.
So,
but you see you see in the video footage, and I'm gonna have to find this video footage and
yeah, we're gonna post it with this.
Yeah, well, I'll try to. The kid was under duress. The kid was under duress, and the kid was the former treasurer, but her
name was still on the account.
Her or their name was still on the account.
Sure.
So this developer is just frog walking this poor kid, and I don't know. I think.
So who went on the trip?
Amanda, and as a security detail, Chief DeGiusti. And you know what? You're in another foreign country. You should probably have a security detail. So having the.
I'm sorry. Who's Amanda? Was she
Amanda Edmonds
the
was
mayor?
The mayor. Yeah.
Okay, so Amanda was the mayor,
and she went on a trip. And then I think other council members that either resigned or did not run for re-election again. But yeah.
Do you remember their names offhand?
Well, I can put it into post. So this is where I'm going to put it into post. Mayor Pro Tem Nicole Brown, who is now the current mayor, Police Chief Donny Giusti, and economic developer Beth Ernat. That was their names.
Oh, wow. So, let's see. Water Street 1.0. Who was mayor when we bought Water Street?
Cheryl Farmer.
Cheryl Farmer. Did she get reelected?
No.
No, she did not. Okay. Water Street 1.5. Who was mayor?
Amanda.
Did she get reelected?
No.
Okay. Water Street 2.0 almost happened. Who's the mayor?
Oh, that would be
Nicole Brown.
Nicole Brown of the Tucson family.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens for Nicole.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that third time's the charm here.
I don't know, but
I don't think she voted in bad faith. I don't think that any of this was done in bad faith. But I do think that this was way too close to history repeating itself. Mm-hmm. And I don't see. Am I correct in remembering that two of the city council members are related?
Oh yeah, Roland and Nicole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and they don't have the same last name.
Roland Tucson and Nicole Brown.
Got it. It seems a little bit, we're not, it doesn't seem nepotistic here, but, I feel like Ypsilanti's not so small that
there's 20,000 of us, and 20,000 sounds like a lot until you
realize nobody wants to run because Water Street's such a nightmare.
Yeah, and so basically we're in a rough spot, and nobody wants to going on council over the last 10 years has ruined careers.
Yeah, absolutely.
It has absolutely ruined careers. We're not going to talk about it in this spot, but we're going to talk about what happened with the mayor who came after Amanda. I'm not even going to say her name in this particular...
Yeah, no, we're not going to get into that one.
Yeah.
That was... Actually, I don't think that one had anything to do with Ipsy. I think that one did it all by itself.
All right, so we're going 34 minutes right now.
Whatever.
Yeah. So let's finish out the pants.
So much for pants.
No, let's finish out the pants story. We can splice this up into as many parts as we want.
Yeah, sure. You mix and match whatever you want.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Water Street. And we're poor because of Water Street. So Big Ed decides that we can't afford to pull the pants out of the bathrooms. And now we don't have any bathrooms in Riverside Park.
And our taxes are at the statutory maximum. And Ed, resigned in. No, he didn't resign.
Is he getting a pension or anything?
Oh yeah, nice big pension and everything from Lansing at least. I don't know if there was a pension involved in his contract with.
Hey Ed, I'd like to look at your retirement.
Okay.
But you know what, Ed? We are sending this straight to you. I would love to have you on this podcast. I would love to meet you in person and get your side of the story here, because my property taxes almost bankrupted me this year. It was a shock. That was such a shock. Coming in, I went to school at Eastern. Yeah. I went to undergrad. I came in and I was like, oh man, Ipsy's like, it was scary coming from Brighton. Mm-hmm. I was really afraid of the crime, and but I stuck it out. I stayed at Eastern, and I went there for undergrad, I went there for grad school, and I became a lot more comfortable with the town, and I really fell in love with this space. Mm-hmm. Like, I got here in 2010, 2011, And here I am 13 years later, I'm still here. Because this city really has a heart to it, and you know, there's a lot of good to be found here. But you know, I bought a condo in 2022. I bought a condo in a community that was gerrymandered into the city.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the city limits, that community is literally gerrymandered into the 4 square miles. I have a lot of resentment about that because as a brand new homeowner, I had no idea that my property taxes on a $170,000 condo purchase were going to skyrocket to be $5,000.
Oh yeah, proposal a pop-up.
And I'm ready to leave. I love this space. I love this town. But how are we supposed to convince people to move into town and not just have venture capitalists and small rental companies come in and buy up everything because they're the only ones that can afford the property taxes?
Yeah. So
how are we supposed to continue building and maintaining our community? Like, families can't afford that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is a lot of stress.
Ed, tell me how I'm supposed to be able to afford this.
I really do want to listen to Ed talk about this. It would be a very interesting episode. But, so listen, for those of you that don't know Proposal A is a good thing. It's a good thing.
Tell me about Proposal A and convince me that it's a good thing, because the dollar signs are branded into my back right now.
It keeps people in their homes for longer. It reduces house flipping. It keeps actual people in their houses for longer.
If they can afford the initial property taxes.
If they can afford the initial property taxes. And that is the big problem because, as you have intimated, you cannot.
New families can't afford this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I got. Another question. When are we done paying off Water Street?
We put on, after the road tax millage rolled over and those 2 or 3 mills were going to go away, we finally were able to start paying back on, but, you know, we didn't have the 3 mills to pay for anything. We were paying with the 3 mills for the roads that we had, and we drive on the road, so great, but we're not getting anything for the 3 mills for Water Street. It's just a toxic wasteland.
So I'm looking at Water Street as a mortgage
that
we're paying off. How much is paid off? When is our mortgage going to be paid off?
I think it will be done in
2035.
Yeah.
We have 11 more fucking years of this?
We have 11 more years.
I have 11 more fucking years of paying off Ed's mistake.
So we're going to go...
No. You know who I don't even necessarily hold Ed responsible. You know who I fucking hold responsible?
Oh.
You know who I hold responsible for this? John Barr Sr. You should have done a better job putting that contract together. This is on John Barr Sr.
Oh man, you can look at those levels right there. I'm gonna have to lower those a little bit.
John, let's get you onto this podcast. He's never gonna come on. He's an attorney.
Yeah, no, he'll never come on. So anyway, we couldn't pay for the bathrooms because of those sewer pants.
Okay.
Because it was nothing to do with Water Street. It was the sewer pants.
Okay, pants. Sorry. Yeah, This is a comedy. Ha ha, pants. That's not. But man, there's so much rich history of Ypsilanti, and as like a new family, quote family, you know, my family is just me and my dog, but. You know, I consider myself to be some of the newer Ypsi blood. Mm-hmm. I'd love to put roots down here. I'd love to see a community that I can grow into. Tell me how the city is going to survive 10 more years of people not wanting to move into astronomical property taxes. Because, I mean, I know that some of the outside neighborhoods have more residents, but the neighborhoods that I'm thinking of, like, are in Superior Township. They're in Pittsfield Township. All I see as a city is more and more and more rentals. How are we supposed to maintain our sense of community when, like, all of the property is being bought up by rental companies?
These are a lot of very, very important questions that we are
I
going
think
to
I'm
have
going
to...
to go to city council and ask them, what am I supposed to do for the next 11 years while we pay off this water street? How are we building our community? How am I supposed to be able to afford? I don't want to be paying for a mistake from the 90s. Hey, Ed, come out of retirement. Put your retirement back into Water Street. Put your retirement back into your community. John, why don't you go into retirement and let somebody else take over that's competent?
Barr, Anhut, and Associates. So, we've been going 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Is there any commercials that you would like to talk about?
Commercials?
Yeah, you can, because we don't have advertisers.
Brought to you by angry, pissed off property taxpayers. Brought to you by the taxpayers.
This episode.
This episode was brought to you by angry taxpayers.
Right. This episode of Ypsilanti Area Discussers was brought to you by white cans of Monster Energy drink, Sophie Kisses, and Taco Bell.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Monster. White Monster.
White Monsters.
Oh, I thought, you said White Monster. I was thinking White Claw, and I was dying.
You know,
I was dying.
you pour both of them in at the same time.
It's
and
basically a Four Loko.
Yeah, you don't know if you're coming or going. All right. I want to thank everyone that has listened to this podcast. It's the longest podcast we've ever produced. It's the second podcast we've ever produced.
It's the only podcast we've ever produced. Actually, it's the only podcast we've ever put out.
Yeah.
There's an unreleased episode that you will never get,
Yes,
dear listener.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. So, I want to thank everyone that has been listening to me and Coelhinha speak on these very, very local issues. And I hope that you listen to the next one.
Bye. Have a beautiful time.